Hello, my name is Kathy Job, and I want to tell you about how God took me from bitterness to patience. I was my husband's caretaker for 16 years. From 1998, when he had bladder cancer, until December 2014, when he died at 91. It was a long, long journey. I didn't want the job. I always insisted that he make his own dental appointments and his own doctor appointments, and I just got to stay out of it. But finally, it was really serious. He had stage 3 bladder cancer, and he had huge kidney stones that worried the doctors at Duke, and he had glaucoma. Once the cycle of illness began, there seemed to be no end. And Gail needed someone to help him, especially after the day when one morning all the vision in his left eye vanished in an instant when he had what is called a central retinal vein occlusion. It's like having a stroke in the back of your eye. Frankly, filling out forms is not my favorite thing to do either. Poor me. Gail needed my help and I had to help him. But I had to do things I didn't want to do. Over time, he developed more problems. He had more kidney stones, he had pneumonia, he had a hernia, a fractured humerus that never ever healed, and he fell over and over and over. Then a couple of super serious and deadly infections came from nowhere. Hearing the hospitalists say, "Mrs. Job, you should consider hospice," was a cruel thing to hear. And I was just terrified. But he was healed again. He survived, and the cure for that one, though, was he had to have a PICC line, and he had to go to a nursing home. And while he was in that nursing home, a cruel, sadistic man who was a caretaker there injured him by picking him up and putting him on a portable toilet. By this time, his vision was completely gone, and there was no way that we could know who it was. Were we bitter? Yes, we were bitter. But Gail and I wanted God in our marriage even before we were married. We wanted God to be a part of our marriage, and we couldn't be mad at God. He had so patiently and carefully nurtured us, and so we couldn't get mad at him. But it was the relentlessness of one thing after another over those years that made me feel bitter. But God was just as relentless in loving us and taking care of us and reminding us that He was there all the time. Being a caretaker is the hardest thing I have ever done. I had 4 children. It's harder than that. It crowds out everything else you'd really rather be doing. You become a nurse, a bather, a scheduler. You have to be his or her advocate, on and on and on and on. You have to do things that you don't want to do. But there's a point when I realized there was no one else who could do it as well as I could. And I praise God for that. I praise God that He loves us and He kept us always in His arms. And that is what I hope for every caretaker. We went from bitterness to patience. My husband demonstrated that when he decided not to pursue any kind of legal action against that man or against the facility. He refused to ruin a man's life when he wasn't absolutely positively sure he could identify him. Instead, he forgave him. Thank you all.